Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. My name is Rosina Sharon. So today we're going to talk about tricks and techniques on doing makeup. It's been a while. I've taken like 2 weeks break from being on camera. I am very happy to be back, and today I will have a new set of brushes I'm going to experiment, as well as a new set of beauty blenders. And before we go to the video, kindly subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll be reading all of them kama kawaida, and if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. With no further ado, let us go straight into the video. Okay guys, so we're going to start off with the eyebrows, and one mistake we normally do is line when the eyebrow area is oily. Please make sure that eyebrow area is very dry before you start lining, especially if you're using eye pencil. Make sure that area is dry. If you have very oily skin, you can put some powder on that area first to dry it up and then start lining. So when it comes to lining the upper side of the brow, I normally leave a little bit of space around the inner corner to avoid that block shape, because I want my my eyebrows to look very natural, especially around the inner corner. So I just leave a little bit of space and then keep lining. Okay, so next I am going to use the Becca primer. It is a very mattifying primer. If you're going to use primer for this, make sure it's very mattifying. This technique works like magic, especially if you want your eyebrows to have that more natural finish to it, or rather the feather-like finish to it. You can as well use a bar soap or hair glue for this, depending on your preference. And then I know most of us have been ignoring this brush in our brush set. It works like magic, guys, especially if you have bushy eyebrows. So after you have applied the primer or soap, just brush through your eyebrows with this brush. Look at the way it separates your eyebrows. It makes them look more visible, more feather-like if you want. And then after you're done, press it in using the other end of the brush, just to make sure that hold stays in put. And then after that, after the primer has dried out, is when you can start filling in. And remember, we are going for a more natural finish to our eyebrows, so don't do the dark, overly dark finish. Just fill in the areas where you feel like there is space. And then after that, to line our eyebrows, I am using the LA Girl Pro concealer in the shade Fawn. To line your eyebrows, use a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than your skin tone. And another mistake we do, I don't know, I have seen other people use fluffy brushes to clean your eyebrows. Trust me, it is not going to give you that shape you're looking for. So use a very angled brush for this. And then to clean the upper side of the brow, I would recommend you use foundation instead of concealer, because it's going to be easier for you to blend after you're done. And then before I apply eyeshadow, I normally set my eyelids using the very same concealer I used to clean my brows. And make sure you blend that in completely before you start applying eyeshadow. For eyeshadow, the mistakes we do, guys, for transitioning shades, make sure they are always matte. By matte, I mean they're just powdery, they don't have any shimmer to it. Don't use shimmery shades for transition. That is a shimmery shade. You see that shine? That is what I mean by shimmery shade. Don't use shimmery shades for transition. Start with matte transitions. Always a matte shade for transition. And then to blend transitioning shades, make sure the brush you use is a fluffy, round brush. Don't go for an angled brush for this. And to avoid any creases on your eyeshadow, make sure that blend is very smooth first before you start applying eyeshadow. And for transition, always start from the outer corner going towards the inner corner, from outer going towards to the inner. So for our first transition, I went with this dark chocolate from the James Charles palette. And if you're a beginner, please avoid using black for transition. Start with experimenting with browns first before you move to black. And I'm going to concentrate that around the outer corner only. And then next I'm going for a more subtle brown shade, still from the James Charles palette, just next to the dark chocolate I started off with as my first transition, sorry. And then make sure they blend in. The first transition and the second transition should blend in, no harsh lines. And then after that I'm going for this, is it a brown, is it an orange shade, I'm not sure, still from the James Charles palette, just next to the brown I did before. So starts with a darker shade around the outer corner, and then a more and more subtle shades going towards the inner corner. And then around the inner corner I'm going for a more brighter shade, and I'm using the same brush I used to apply concealer for this. Advantages of using that same brush you used to apply concealer is it has a little bit of product on it, so it holds on to that pigment, that eyeshadow pigment, it holds onto it, so you don't lose any pigment when you apply it on your eyes. So if you're going for a shimmery look, any other look really, use that same brush you used to apply concealer, it maintains that pigment. And make sure the whole eye makeup blends in, no harsh lines. When it comes to blending in the edges, use a smaller fluffy brush. Always use a fluffy brush to blend in, don't use an angled brush, and use circular motions and very little force. Next we're going to apply eyeliner, and we're not going to draw a wing eye today. We're just going to apply that eyeliner up until where it meets the first transitioning shade. Okay, and then after that use a smaller brush with the same transitioning shade you used and blend in the eyeliner to the first transitioning shade. And then after I'm going to apply mascara before I apply my falsies. I don't normally apply mascara after I apply my falsies, because most of the time if mascara touches your falsies, it gives them a very weird shape. It sticks onto your falsies, if that makes sense, and I don't like that. And when it comes to applying falsies, make sure around the inner corner you leave some space for it to appear more natural. You don't want it looking like you have an umbrella on your eyes, so please make sure you leave a little bit of space around the inner corner so it appears more natural. Okay, so next, moving on to the face, I am going to start off by moisturizing, and I am using my very favorite moisturizer, which is e.l.f. Illuminating Moisturizer, and it has SPF in it. So if you do not have sunscreen, make sure you buy a very good sunscreen before you apply moisturizer. And I'm just going to massage that onto my skin before I apply anything else on top. Skin prep is very important, don't ever forget that step. And then after you're done massaging the moisturizer in, make sure it sets first before you apply primer. For primer today I am using Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. And again I'm just going to massage that in and then let it set first before I apply foundation on top of it. And another thing, guys, for people who have problem with blending around where you have the smile lines, make sure you apply more primer around that area and tap it in completely before you apply your foundation on top. So to apply foundation I normally use beauty blenders, and these beauty blenders I got from Style Up with Less on Instagram. They're very, very soft, I love them. So for blending, make sure you damp that beauty blender and then squeeze out the excess water first before you start blending in your foundation. For foundation I'm using the Maybelline Super Stay Foundation in Warm Coconut. And then to blend, just tap it in. And then another mistake a lot of us do, even me when I started doing makeup, is using a lot of product. Even for foundation, please use very, very little product. Just one tap is enough for one side of your face. Don't be using a lot of product and then you find trouble blending after. Use very little amounts of product. It is going to work like magic for you if you do that. So keep tapping until it all blends in. And always remember to blend in your neck. That is a step you should never forget. Blend in your neck. You don't want to look like you have two different skin tones. Blend in your neck. Okay? And around the forehead, use as little product as possible. And then next, to highlight, I am using the very same concealer I used, which is LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Fawn. And again, don't use too much product. And then this is a technique, I think I have said this a lot of times, but blend as you go. Like, start by applying concealer on your under eyes, then blend it in fast before you go to the bridge of your nose or your forehead, because most of the times these concealers dry very, very quickly. So if it dries while you're still blending in your under eyes, it's going to give you problems when you're blending in around the bridge of your nose. So please blend as you go. Start off with blending around the under eyes, and then you can apply around the bridge of your nose, then blend it in fast, then go to the forehead. Especially for beginners, this technique will work very, very well with you. When you're done blending in your under eyes, you can go ahead and blend in the bridge of your nose. And I don't know why your face normally waits for this moment, and then all of a sudden your nose is itchy. It's crazy. It happens to me every single time. But anyway, yeah. And then next, to set the areas where I highlighted using my concealer, I am using the Sacha Buttercup Setting Powder. And especially for beginners, this technique will work best for you. So just dip the beauty blender onto your setting powder and then blow off the excess powder first before you set. And for setting, just press it in and keep pressing until you have that flawless finish. If you're a beginner, don't just start off by baking immediately. Start off with setting like this, then you can gradually, move to baking. And repeat the whole process onto the areas where you highlighted using your concealer. So that is your under eye, bridge of your nose, your forehead, and if at all you use concealer around your mouth, please make sure you set that area too. So to contour, I am using the MAC Finishing Powder in NW50. This is like 2 shades darker than my skin tone. And for contouring your cheekbones and forehead and all that, use a fluffy brush. Don't use an angle brush to contour, please. Like to blend in your contour, sorry. And then next, make sure you remember to contour your forehead. It's very, very important. Make sure you contour your forehead. And for contouring, please use very little force. When it comes to your nose contour, this is a technique that I learned very, very recently. So using a fluffy brush, just apply the contour shades all over the tip of your nose. Don't drag it all the way down, just around the tip. Okay, so we're not going to do the normal technique we normally do. Start off with applying that around the tip of your nose, and then after that is when now you can use a small angle brush to reverse contour. This technique works like magic, guys, because most of the time when I do the normal contour technique, it leaves a very harsh line around my nose, and that is what we're trying to avoid. So reverse contour using the same setting powder you use, that is Sacha for me. So reverse contour around both sides of your nose. Okay, and then blend it in just using your finger. And guys, this technique works like magic, especially if you hate those harsh lines around your nose when you contour. This will work magic for you. So if you try it out, please tell us how it went. And then after that, you can highlight the bridge of your nose using your setting powder, and please make sure you use a very small brush for this. And depending on the size you want your nose to appear, if you want it to appear very thin, do the line very thin. If you want it to appear bigger, space out the line a little bit. Next, to set my whole face, I'm using the Milani Make It Last setting spray. And then next, to highlight, I am using the Fenty Beauty highlighter in Hustler Baby. And make sure after you highlight the bridge of your nose, just use your finger to blend it in to avoid it looking very harsh. And then next, for our lips, I'm going to start off with this lip liner from Illegal. And I'm going to start off by lining my lower lip just the normal way I line my lower lip. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my upper lip is normally very thin as compared to my lower lip. That is why most of the time when I'm doing my upper lip, I overline just so they balance. And another thing, guys, if your lip liner is not as pigmented as you wanted it to be, dip it on an eyeshadow shade that matches the exact shade of that lip liner, and make sure that eyeshadow is matte. Don't use a shimmery eyeshadow for that. And then next, I'm going for Milani Lippy in Amore, and I'm just going to apply that mostly around my lower lip, and then blend it in using my finger after I have smudged. Is it smudge? I don't know. And then next, I'm going to apply just a tiny bit of Golden Lip Cosmetics because I wanted that lip to pop. So I'm just going to apply a very small amount of the shade and then blend it in. And keep blending that in until you get that perfect combo. And that would be it from me today, guys. Let me know if this tutorial has been detailed enough for you. I tried to make this one longer and more detailed. Let me know what you think, let me know if you have learned something from this video. Yeah, and thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll be seeing you on the next video. Bye.